This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 17th day of October in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Warning that insufficient investment in climate adaptation can hamper food security, President Irfan Ali today challenged the Food and Agricultural Organization to establish a special adaptation fund for small island developing states, SIDS, and low-lying coastal states as he addressed world leaders virtually during the opening ceremony of the 2022 World Food Forum in Rome. The president told the high-level forum that small island developing and low-lying coastal states need climate adaptation financing on soft terms at concessionary interest rates, long-term repayment plans, and even more grants in light of the peculiar challenges that they face.
It is my hope, therefore, that the FAO can conceptualize and facilitate the establishment of a special adaptation fund for SIDS and low-lying coastal states, disbursed on the basis of vulnerability index rather than on the traditional measures relating to gross domestic product. I've also called for a climate vulnerability fund. These will help unlock much needed and specially tailored resources for SIDS and low-lying coastal states to help boost their food security.
He explained that small island developing states and low-lying coastal states face a plethora of challenges due to their limited access to larger markets, susceptibility to external shocks, and market vulnerabilities, narrow revenue base, fragile ecosystems, and vulnerability to climate risk. Zooming in on climate-related risks, the president pointed out that SIDS and low-lying coastal states are at risk of flooding, drought, erosion, natural disasters such as landslides and hurricanes, and the intrusion of salt water into farmlands. Extreme weather events, he said, disrupt food supplies and systems and could cause destruction to crops and agricultural infrastructure. Against that backdrop, the president said investment in climate adaptation is necessary to foster a climate-resilient agricultural sector.
Without climate adaptation, the agricultural sectors of SIDS and low-lying coastal states will be continuously prone to climate risk. At COP26, certain pledges were made to boost adaptation financing. But as I have alluded to elsewhere, the level of financing promised by the developed countries will be inadequate to close the adaptation gap. And without climate financing, the agricultural sectors of SIDS and low-lying coastal states will be challenged to attract investment for production and productivity.
According to the president, climate financing must also be increased by at least 590%. He said adaptation finance remains far below the scale necessary to respond to existing and future climate change. President Ali said investment is critical to the transformation of food systems and is required at all stages for adaptation, to research, to cultivation, right up to marketing, distribution, and trade. The World Food Forum is being attended by world leaders, youth groups, scientists, private companies, indigenous peoples, farms, agriculture investors, and small-scale producers from around the world. It is intended to move the needle for food security to achieve a better food future for all, leaving no one behind. More news coming up in just a moment on this, your Monday edition of your News Source Evening Bulletin.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now. Transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Giftland Office Max, We're all about customer satisfaction, whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance. We're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Declaring that Regions 5 and 6 are well positioned to benefit from the country's takeoff in the oil and gas sector, President Irfaan Ali has laid out a 6-point development plan of his government. In that plan, the president said the country's energy security is paramount, not only because of the oil and gas sector, but also in securing the environment. Delivering the feature address at the opening of the Berbice Expo this past weekend, President Ali announced that the Berbice region has been earmarked for the establishment of Guyana's first oil refinery.
As I speak to you today, we are about to launch a new ad for a request for proposal. And that request for proposal is for a new 30,000 barrel refinery for national security to be built in Guyana, here in Region 6. In 2 months' time, we will be receiving the submissions from those who are interested in investing in this for a 30,000 barrel refinery to be established right here in Region 6.
It was also explained that the government will only be providing the land at Crab Island in Region 6 for the project and intends to play no other part in the investment. Tenders are scheduled to be opened within 2 weeks for the project and will be closed by mid-December.
The opportunities this will create for transport and logistics, the services industry, the construction industry, the rental industry are enormous and will bring tremendous benefit to the people of this region.
President Ali also said the government is working on an aggressive program which includes a modern highway for the Berbice region, but he said the government is thinking beyond 2030. It was also explained that the government is also evaluating the need for a new bridge across the Berbice River.
We are doing the hard work now to ensure that the economy 2030 and beyond will be the strongest in the world, most diversified, most dynamic, and most structurally integrated. This is how we want to position our country.
The hope is that that new bridge, if it comes on stream, will not hinder the development of the Berbice River. Well, government political activist and online talk show host Ossie Rogers has left the country while still being under investigation over his physical assault of a Berbice woman in a supermarket at Bath Settlement. Last week, Rogers was released on station bail as the police said investigators were continuing their probe into the incident which took place last Sunday. The entire incident was caught on camera. While the investigations are ongoing and charges are likely, Rogers has skipped the country and was spotted in Queens, New York on Saturday night attending and providing commentary at the Guyanese organized Diwali celebration. In the video recording of the assault back here in Guyana, Rogers is seen advancing towards a woman during an argument and slapping her repeatedly across the face. After the woman throws an item at him in retaliation, Rogers is seen attacking her again before a group of men in the supermarket stepped in and ended his abuse. This is not the first time that Aussie Rogers has found himself at the center of assault allegations involving a female. Back in 2013, he was charged and remanded to jail over his assault of a 13-year-old girl, allegedly because she was friends with a 15-year-old boy who was known to him. Just after that incident, he also made a dash to the US, where he remained for a number of years. The PPP activist has also had other run-ins with the law. A group of athletes from Region 1 had a scary situation today when their speedboat capsized and sank during their return trip to Suriname from Parika. According to reports, all of the occupants of the boat were rescued and taken to safety by other boats that were traversing the busy Essequibo waterway. It is unclear what might have caused the boat to capsize, but the maritime authorities have launched an investigation. The indigenous athletes were heading home to the Northwest District via Suriname following their participation at this past weekend's Heritage Games, which took place here in Georgetown.
It's time to live it up with Rubis and win! Spend $4,500 or more in Ultratech fuel at any Rubis service station and get an entry card. Win one of 3 amazing grand prizes of $500,000 cash, $500,000 in Ultratech fuel, or $500,000 in groceries. Each week you could win fabulous weekly prizes including staycations, dinners, spa and fuel vouchers, cash, electronics, and more. Live it up with Rubis and make sure you're in with a chance to win!
are depending on my ethnic but non-threatening voice to explain things they are too lazy to set up traditionally. Only 2 months into the semester.
Marcus, I was watching that. What's the matter with you?
Noreen, why you have all these things plugged in, man? You really don't check them bills, you know? You know the cost of electricity?
Marcus, you can't be so ridiculous. That's the fridge. Why would you unplug the fridge?
I don't understand why the cost of electricity is so high in this country, man. Somebody has to do something.
Marcus, you know what I realize? Something is really wrong with you. How are we supposed to live without electricity?
Hello, just like our ancestors survived back in the days.
I will have you know, Marcus, Noreen Angela Melville is not cut out for that type of life.
And already the 9th Ivy League squads buzz with future Olympians and presidents.
Did you know the gas-to-energy project is expected to reduce the cost of electricity by up to 50%? Yes, that project will slash electricity bills in half. This will also unleash a tsunami of benefits for the manufacturing sector in Guyana.
Wow. Marcus, did you hear that? Electricity will be cheaper. Now, Marcus, for the love of God, plug the fridge back in.
For the admissions brochure.
We counting we counting we from region 1 to region 10, the whole country.
Well, this serves to inform you that I have just completed the census, which is ongoing in 2022. It is my view that a census is important. It will allow us to understand the demographics in Guyana, among other things. And therefore, it is in that context, I think it is opposite that I say to people, be part of the census, ensure you're counted. It will contribute to the kind of data that is needed to do the kinds of analysis and projections in a society like ours. And if properly used, it can contribute to good governance.
Everyone in the country, we counting. and windows, Republic. Rooms and more, Republic. A brand new rug on the floor. Come to Republic, come to Republic. Whatever you need, you got it. Come through and get your mortgage. Live the dream with Republic.
95 to 100% financing, 50% waiver of negotiation fees, plus one lucky person gets their mortgage paid in full. Turn someday into today. Talk to Republic Bank about your low-cost mortgage today.
The Ministry of Housing has issued a final notice to 7 families who are occupying lands at Mucklehurst and Caneview area, calling on them to end what the ministry terms an attempt to disrupt national development. The Housing Ministry said the residents must put personal and political agendas aside and see the development vision that the government is working towards. In a notice, the ministry said the attempts by persons to disrupt government's development program is nothing but mischievous and an attempt to shift focus. The ministry said in keeping with the government's mandate to ease traffic congestion by building new highways, the areas under illegal occupation will serve as an essential link for the continuation of the second phase of the Eccles to Great Diamond 4-lane highway. The ministry said that despite joint efforts by the Mucka Arcadia NDC and the Ministry of Housing calling on the squatters to vacate, they remain uncooperative. The Housing Ministry listed a sequence of interventions that it made to get to its current positions. According to the ministry, it has been engaging with the Mucka residents since 2008, and those interventions intensified last year. The Housing Ministry said the government remains committed to working with the squatters as it works towards providing housing solutions for them. The ministry further explained that it has demonstrated efforts to remain humane and calm in the circumstances. Many of the persons have been living in the area for over a decade and have developed farms in the area also. While they say they are willing to relocate, they want the relocation plan to also make lands available for them to continue their farming, which is part of their livelihoods. The current Committee of Management of the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union is being accused of applying delayed tactics for the hosting of a special general meeting by the 24th of October. Already, the current Committee of Management, headed by Karen Van Slightman Corbin, has named the 24th of October as the day for the holding of the special general meeting and elections. But since then, there has been no other public pronouncement on the agenda for the meeting, the polling places for the elections, the voting mechanism to be employed, and other systems which should have been in place for the holding of the elections. Today, the team headed by former Chairman Trevor Benn hosted a press conference, and that team accused the current Committee of Management of disregarding the court order. Vice Chairman of the Management Committee, Patrick Mentor, who broke ranks with the committee to join Mr. Benn's team, said the Committee of Management's posture is clear that they intend to breach the court order. He said the committee members have been doing everything in their power to frustrate the process for the successful hosting of the meeting.
Such a display of intransigence, I would call it obstinate refusal to prepare adequately to deal with the members' business, leaves a bitter taste in one's mouth that is best eliminated by the recall or removal of the current COM, Committee of Management.
And Attorney-at-Law Christopher Thompson, who was recently terminated by the current Committee of Management as the credit union's legal advisor, is also running for a position on the Management Committee alongside Trevor Banner. Thompson said the Management Committee appears to be playing with the members' emotions.
We have not heard of a nomination day. We have not heard of any polling stations in any part of the country. So I think that there's a real, genuine concern as to whether or not the court order will be complied with.
One of the applicants who won the case against the credit union's management committee, Mihaela McCalmont, said she is currently in contact with her attorneys to head back to court for the court to compel the Committee of Management to carry out its orders. For his part, Mr. Ben said the Committee of Management should understand that the credit union is bigger than any one individual.
This is bigger than Trevor Ben. This is not about Trevor Ben. This is about poor people and their prosperity. The Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union is there to support and encourage and to help ordinary people who have no other source of income or loan ability to get loan, no other place, Most of them have been turned away from the private sector organizations, and so we try our best to facilitate them. And this is why we are fighting to make sure that this facility remains viable for that purpose.
Meanwhile, the chief executive officer of the credit union, Adiola Griffith, has also been accused of colluding with the current management committee to stall the preparation process for the hosting of the elections. Mr. Ben has named his 12-member team to contest for the credit union's board positions when a special meeting takes place. There is a move by the government to get more international carriers to explore the Guyana market. Currently, there are less than 10 international airlines that ply the Guyana route. The Tourism Ministry is hoping that the government's presence at the World Routes Development Forum in Las Vegas could land more international carriers on local shores. A Guyana delegation is being headed at the forum by Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Unesh Waldron. The CEO of the Chilijagan International Airport and the head of the Guyana Tourism Authority are some of the other persons who are part of the Guyana delegation. In a statement today, management at the Chilijagan Airport explained that the World Routes Forum is an annual event which brings together airlines, airports, tourism authorities, tour operators, and other key aviation decision makers. It is also dedicated to route development and strategic planning in the aviation industry. Over the next few days, the Minister of Tourism, Unesh Waldron, and her team are expected to meet with several key persons in the aviation industry with the intention of encouraging investments in destination Guyana. The minister said the forum presents an important opportunity for bringing additional airlift to Guyana, noting that the focus is to sell Guyana as a lucrative investment destination. She believes that additional carriers will encourage investment and allow cheaper airfares and increase travel and destination options. The chief executive officer of the Chilijagan Airport, Ramesh Gair, said the majority of new airlines entering the Guyana market are as a result of negotiations that have taken place at the Routes Forum. Guyana signed open skies policies with a number of countries, but travel between those countries and Guyana have not seen any major boost.
We counting we from region 1 to region 10, the whole country.
We've just completed our census interview. It's quite a simple process. Whenever the team comes to your home, kindly cooperate and get the interview done, because it's also important for the information to be available to us as a government to plan and implement our programs and projects for the development of Guyana, a development that you will benefit from.
We counting we from region 1 to region 10, the whole country.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor of the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
Rooms and more, Republic, a brand new rug on the floor. Come to Republic, come to Republic. Whatever you need, you got it. Come through and get your mortgage. Live the dream with Republic.
95 to 100% financing, 50% waiver of negotiation fees, plus one lucky person gets their mortgage paid in full. Turn some day into today. Talk to Republic Bank about your low-cost mortgage today.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guyana's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyana's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, Argentina's economy minister Sergio Massa has announced that the government of Argentina will give workers tax relief from November by raising the tax threshold at which income tax is charged as the country battles with soaring inflation. The Argentine annual inflation rate hit 83% in September and is forecast to climb as high as 100% by the end of the year, piling pressure on households and the peso currency, and feeding social discontent in the major grain-producing nation. The Argentine minister said he was eager to bring about a sustained decrease in price pressures, saying inflation is the worst punishment that any worker, any retiree in Argentina could have. The minister also said the Argentine government is negotiating a new plan aimed at containing the cost of food staples, which he hoped would help Argentina's neediest by the end of this year. The Caribbean island of Bermuda is expected to receive a record number of cruise ship calls in the 2023 cruise ship season. At a media conference, the Minister of Transport in Bermuda, Lawrence Scott, said the UK Overseas Territory is expected to receive 222 cruise ship calls in 2023. The schedule for the 2023 season is expected to be released soon. This year is also expected to be a stellar one for the territory. The official said cruise ships arriving from June through October had an average of 76% occupancy. He also stated that survey data collected by the Bermuda Tourism Authority showed passengers spent an average of $262 per person, which increased from $225 per person while in Bermuda. Bermuda welcomed over 310,000 cruise ship passengers so far for this year, generating more than $130 million in economic activity. That figure represents $28.2 million more than originally projected. By the end of this year, an additional 63,000 passengers will arrive in Bermuda on 39 cruise ships. And finally tonight, international news. Recent flooding in Nigeria has become an overwhelming disaster, and many states were not properly prepared for them despite warnings. The Minister for Disaster Management in Nigeria has said. The BBC reports that more than 600 people have died in the worst flooding that the West African nation has seen in a decade. Some 1.3 million people have been displaced, and more than 200,000 homes have been destroyed. Flooding in Nigeria is expected to continue until the end of November. Nigeria is used to seasonal flooding, but this year it has been significantly worse than usual. The government of Nigeria has said unusually heavy rains and climate change are to be blamed. The emergency release of excess water from dams both in Nigeria and in neighboring Cameroon was another key factor causing devastating flooding. Experts have said poor planning and infrastructure have exacerbated the damage. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.